Hey, this is Dr. Blood, and we're here. We're going to give you some good common exercises and stretches for the knee, especially if you're dealing with any knee type issues. So when we're dealing with the knee, we want to work a lot of different muscles all the way up into the hip, and similarly we want to come down into the calf as well. So to start up towards the top, what I commonly like to implement is the hip external rotator stretch. Also very good for sciatic. It's pretty much good for low back, lower extremity type things. It's a very good stretch. So a very easy way to do this one is laying on your back on the floor on a solid surface, and you bend your knee up that you're trying to stretch. Then what you do is you take your foot and you plant it on the opposite side of the knee. And then you're going to reach down with your left hand, in this case because we're stretching the right hip, and we're going to pull the knee down towards the floor. Now this isn't one where we want to rotate the whole hip and pelvis off of the table or off of the floor, but we want to isolate this group right through here. And you may even find a stretch coming a little bit into the lateral part of the thigh. So this is the hip external rotator stretch. You want to hold that for about 15 seconds, and it's good to do on both sides, so you can repeat that each side 3 times. Dr. Blood, I'm going to give you the next common stretch that we give for knee issues. So similarly how we address the hip, we also want to address the hamstring in the back of the leg. So ideally, when we're stretching into the knee, we want to be able to do a straight leg raise. So if you can have someone to help you, that's great. If not, you can use a belt. So I'm going to show you, we're going to use a rubber band that we use therapeutically, but you can use a belt. So what you want to do with that is you want to get the belt around the foot, okay? And then you hang on to each end of it, and then you help pull your leg towards you, okay? And what we want to create is a stretch towards the back of the leg. We want to hold that for 10 to 15 seconds. It's always good to do both sides, the involved side as well as the uninvolved side, and then you lower it back down. So that is a good hamstring stretch. If for whatever reason that isn't comfortable or not tolerable for you, what you can do, I'll move that out of the way, what you can do is a knee to chest stretch. So this will get the attachments a little bit more towards the butt, but what you do with the knee to chest stretch is you bring your leg in, if it's comfortable to wrap around the knee, and then you're going to pull your knee in towards your stomach, and we'll get at least the belly of the muscle up towards the attachment around the glutes. So again, you're going to hold this for 10 to 15 seconds. We're going to switch to the other side, and we're going to rotate that 3 times. So that is a good stretch for the hamstrings when we're talking about the knee and helping knee pain. And we're going to give you the next common stretch that we like to implement for knee issues. So we address the hip and we address the hamstring. Now we want to address the front of the leg. So we're going to do a quad stretch. You can do this standing as well as laying down. So whatever one's more comfortable for you. And this one might be a little more challenging to do by yourself. If you have assistance with it, that's great. So laying down on the ground or on a surface, all you're going to do is you're going to bend your foot towards you, and you're going to, if you can get a hold of it, you're going to grab it and you're going to pull your heel towards your butt. And what we want to feel is a stretch towards the front. Again, that can be done standing, where we just stand, grab it, and we make sure our knee is right below our hip. But we want to hold that stretch again for about 10 to 15 seconds, just to get a nice stretch, relax it, and go to the other side and do the same thing. So that helps stretch the quad, that it comes down and attaches into the knee. And I'm going to give you the next common stretch that we like to hit when we're dealing with knee pain. Again, this one's going to be a little bit higher towards the hip, but hip function is very important when it comes to knee issues. So it's always good, again, to go the joint above as well as go into the aspects below the area of involvement. So we're going to do a little bit of a hip flexor stretch here. Now when it comes to the hip flexor, an easy one to do is to do a kneeling one and shifting your body weight forward. However, if you have knee pain, it's not very comfortable oftentimes to kneel. So I'm going to give you a version of this. Now it's important to keep in mind that if you have any lower back issues, you want to be very careful of this, because we'll put the back into a little bit of extension. But as long as it's comfortable, how we do this hip flexor stretch is we're going to lay on a bed, something higher up off of the ground, and you're going to scoot to the edge of it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to let your leg fall off, keeping the other leg on, And as the leg hangs, we're going to stretch this area right here. That'll affect the hip stretch, the hip flexor. So that's a good stretch to do. Kind of gets towards the top of the quad into the hip. We're going to hold that for 10 to 15 seconds, and then we're going to switch to the other side. And again, we can repeat these 3 times. So this is a good hip flexor stretch, so long that it's comfortable and tolerable and it doesn't aggravate the lower back. Exercise that we're going to do for knee issues. So these are called quad sets, and what it is, it's an isometric contraction to the quad muscles of the thigh that are big stabilizers of the knee joint. A lot of good research on how quad inactivity and how it's involved with how the knee can malfunction. So it's very important to engage the quad. So the way this works is you're going to lay flat on a surface. So in this case, we're going to be doing the right leg here. And what you do is, with your leg straight, you're going to pull your foot towards your shin. And when you do that, you'll feel and you want to engage and squeeze the quad muscle. And you're going to hold that for about 12 seconds. And then you're going to relax it. And you're going to repeat that 3 to 5 times. That's fine. Once that feels pretty good, the progression, so that you don't just jump to this, but say several weeks down the road of doing this, you engage, keep the leg straight, pull your shin into your foot in towards your shin. You have a good squeeze in the quad, and we're going to add an arcing motion. So you're going to raise your leg straight up, and then you're going to lower it down, and you're going to tap it, and then you're going to lower, and you're going to raise it straight up again. So this one you typically feel it start burning pretty quick. So we'll have to do one more, and then tap it down. So that's a quad set with an arc. Okay, and again, this is an isometric, meaning the length of the muscle doesn't change, but the muscle is firing to help engage the knee. Because a lot of times it hurts to strengthen the knee through movement. So this is a good way to strengthen the knee without really putting some physical stress into the knee joint itself. So these are quad sets. You want to do those 3 to 5 times, holding it for about 10 to 15 seconds. 12 seconds is right in kind of the middle. So that's a good isometric stabilizing exercise for the knee. So the last muscle group we want to stretch in this case is the calf muscle, which is the muscle behind the shin bone. So this is good to do on a step at your house. So what you're going to do is you're going to step up onto your step, okay? And we're going to do this one leg at a time. So I'm going to be her balance, but hang on to the banister for balance. And what you're going to do is you're going to let your heel kind of slide off the back of the step, and you're going to let your heel drop to the floor. And the stretch in this case should fall right through here. And we're going to hold that for 15 seconds, and then we're going to step back onto the step and take a break. And then we're going to repeat that 3 to 5 times. So the heels come off the step, drop down towards the floor, implement a stretch right through here, hold that for 15 seconds, and then take a break. So these are calf stretches, and it's important to stretch these because they attach into the backside of the knee and can be very tight in most people.